Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. This is such a cliche, but anyway, welcome back to SOP podcast. Today, we are with my good friend again, Bella. This lady is not new to this podcast, but today I'm so excited to host her again. Bella, welcome.
Thank you, Steve.
You don't need
This,
introduction.
this is fun. We need to do this every now and again.
We will, my dear, we
Yeah,
will.
yeah.
Yeah. So how are you?
I'm good. I'm easy. And I'm glad we're recording this again.
Again.
I think the response to the other podcast was so good.
Yeah.
So good. And this is natural for us. So I'm excited to be here.
People have been asking me about faith.
Which faith?
Two
Those two.
faiths,
Yeah. What did you tell them?
I just told them that faith is there. I also don't have a number because I'm a very responsible young man. But over and beyond, I'm excited to have you here today. And before I get to the topic, I want to ask you, what is your favorite country in Africa, or which is the country you've gone to and you probably loved how it is and it made you feel so good, and definitely you're always planning to go back again?
Wow. I think I've done maybe 9 or 10 African countries.
But do you say?
I don't have a favorite yet. So the people that know that I've been to those countries, cheers. It's not anything about you, but I'm yet to be wowed. I'm looking for a wow experience. I'm yet to be wowed. Also, I've been to those countries mostly for work. I always craft some time to go and enjoy like the local cuisine or to do something cultural in that country. But the one that comes nearest to a wow would be Zambia at the Victoria Falls
Oh, wow.
in August of 2022.
That's on my bucket list.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you ever seen someone driving a car? And you're like, you're driving my dream car. Yeah.
Victoria Falls from the Zambia side. You hear there's a Zimbabwe side of those falls, which I haven't done. And then there's this trip where you can do the 4 countries. You can do Zambia, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and Botswana, all in a couple of days, just when you're around the Victoria Falls.
Okay. I'll tell people my favorite country is in Africa so far. I think I like, 2 of them. I like Mozambique. I've been to Mozambique, and Mozambique was so amazing. It's a very incredible country. You need to go.
Yeah, I need to go to Moz. I was supposed to go this year for my birthday.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then the cyclones happened.
Not my fault.
Not your fault.
Listen, anyone watching Bella, you know Bella is a global customer experience expert. And today, we are here to discuss a very interesting topic. Do you want to introduce the topic for today?
Yeah, sure, Steve.
Please go
today
ahead.
we are talking about transitions.
Yeah.
And we're going to tackle it from the customer point of view, how corporates are enabling customers to transition. We're also going to look at transitions from an employee experience point of view. Like, how do you transition your employees through the different changes within the business? Yeah, and then we might, if we have some time, talk about transitions in terms of friendships.
Oh, we have to.
Yeah.
There's no might. We are going to do this because we're not sure of tomorrow. We only live today. That's my philosophy. Anyway, guys, scrap that. Here's the thing. Customer transition. It's major.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yes.
It's real.
Yes.
Everyone is feeling it.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So, I've been dealing with a particular product. What can I say? I like... Which drinks do I like? Drum roll. So let's say I'm using a particular phone. Okay? This phone has been with me the days of my mother. Okay? And my dad used to use this phone, and this brand was such a big brand. And sometimes I use the phone because it reminds me of my mom and my dad and how they used it. Probably it's my inception to telecommunication. So now there's smartphones. That is transition. That is a new thing, both for the young and old. How do you transition me from Kadudu? For those who don't know, Kadudu is the old small the smartphone, not the smartphone, the small phones we used to have, the SSD phones, if there's something like that, to more. How do you transition me from the Kadudu to the smartphone?
Yeah.
And I've loved your brand from way back.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting question, Steve. When a product is in the market and customers have taken a liking to it, like now the way you took a liking to it, and it just wasn't a liking, it was a legacy situation. Your parents used it, and so because this is a brand you knew, you are familiar with, you also took up that brand. Now, I think businesses on the other side are asking themselves, how do we retain our core customers?
Yeah.
They're also asking themselves, how can we acquire more customers through our existing customer base?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And the interesting part is, as things keep changing, so do our customers' preferences.
And test.
Yes. And now, even loyalty to a specific brand is not as guaranteed. And it's a good problem.
Don't start it.
It's a good problem to have, because I think we are always supposed to be thinking next step, to be brainstorming about that next customer, right? Now we have the Generation Z.
Gen Z.
Then, just after them, we have the Generation Alpha, the 13-year-olds, and to use your example, who already have smartphones, right?
Yeah.
And there's one of my friends, my other friends was arguing, if a business right now has not started to prepare for that person who's 13 years old right now to be their future consumer, then they're already late.
Wow.
If they're only still responding to millennials,
And Gen Z.
and not even just millennials, like right now, the people that have probably the most disposable income are millennials. They've reached a certain peak in their careers.
Yeah.
They are transitioning probably exponentially. They have varied sources of income. So businesses might still be crafting their strategies around millennials. And that's right now. But things are changing. In the
Yeah.
next 5 years, there's a 13-year-old who will have an ID. So they will have certain rights for certain transactions. They
Yeah.
will now own certain assets. They will have access to certain activities. If you haven't started preparing for that generation in terms of your product and service, you're not nearly there in terms of transitioning.
You're not in market.
You're not there in terms of transitioning. So there must be a retention program. Like now, if I am a brand that has a feature phone and I want my customers to move towards the smartphone, same brand, what do? I start to communicate to those same customers. I start to enroll them into a loyalty program so they can earn points that they can redeem for another product, which is probably the smartphone.
Yeah.
So I start speaking to them in a manner in which the plan is to transition them and move them in a certain direction within 1 year, within 2 years.
Yeah.
So we know companies that do this very well. They transition as consumers, even without us knowing we are being transitioned.
Yeah.
And others we know, like Apple. Apple just tells us
Next
a
year,
certain version,
it's coming. It's
of
coming.
a certain product is coming. So they
no,
start to transition you.
No, they don't even transition you. Let's say the truth.
Yeah,
They don't. They say it.
archive. They
No,
archive a previous version.
no, they don't. They don't archive. They say it and they give you the information. It's for you to see what you do with
What you
it.
do with that information. And because that product or that service has been so good to you, you don't
Yeah.
want to lose out. You want
Yeah.
to jump onto
The next one. Yeah.
onto the next thing.
Here's the thing, and we're going to talk about systematic transitioning, which I find really interesting, based on the example, the case studies you've given, because everyone knows every year, every there's always something new coming from this particular organization.
Yes.
They're looking forward to it.
Yes.
They're excited.
Yes.
And while there could be critics around it, people are looking forward to have the experience that is going to come with that new product. But the idea is, over the years, this organization or company has maintained the things that have kept this product
Yes,
relevant.
Yes.
So as a transitioning customer, and you talk about structural transitions, what is one of those key things you really want to look at and say, this one I don't want to let it go?
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, someone might jump at that question and say price.
Yeah.
And honestly, for me, I don't think it's price. The data already shows, there's research that's been done, and it already shows our customers are willing to pay something extra for very good and quality service and products.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And somebody else might argue, in this economy, the way things are going, who will pay for this and this and the other? But convenience, think about it. Convenience is something I would pay extra for. The fact that I do not have to physically leave my house to go somewhere to pick an item and come back. So there's the time factor, there's the cost factor of going and coming back, but I can have it delivered to me. The convenience of me staying in my house and doing something else that I was already doing and engaging in, and have a rider come to me. And there's a cost for that rider. I'm willing to pay. So there are some things that, if we look carefully at our data within the company, what I like to call customer experience drivers or customer experience levers, when it boils down to a consistent and good experience, what are those things you cannot compromise on?
Yeah.
If a company asks themselves that, what are those things we cannot compromise on? And then let's stack from there. And your customers are likely to tell you it's the convenience, because I'm saving time, it is the accessibility,
It's the authenticity.
it's the authenticity. Some of these things you might not even be able to quantify. Like, you can't put a dollar amount to
value
it.
on it, yeah.
Yes. But the customer, even if you said to the customer right now, because we do not want to change the colors of this and you love these colors, it's going to come at an extra cost. And the customer is like, why not? To maintain a color I designed, or a color I love, or a color that blends with my furniture, I'm okay. And they're okay to pay. I think the other item that we need to mention around transitions is communication.
Yeah.
If you remove the communication from a transition and it's bare, you lose trust.
Yeah. Yeah.
And trust is hard to recover.
Can I cut it short on that? Because I was being transitioned on a particular product. I think I shared this with you off camera. And the person who we used to get in contact with for that particular product was transitioning us to someone we didn't even know, first of all. And that is fine.
Yeah.
But the person did not have the courtesy of telling us, hey, Steve,
Letting you know.
I'm letting you know I'm not going to handle you anymore. But the person I'm giving you is likely to do X, X, and X. This is him. But in case this escalates, just refer back
Let
to
me know.
So I lost that product personally. So then, in that cycle of structural transitions, how do you ensure that when you're transitioning a customer from a particular product, the values that you first invested in him or her when they're buying your product remains constant?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're telling them, hey, I'm not going to be there, but I'm going to allow this other guy
To serve you.
to serve you, or even to walk you with the next journey.
One of the ways is an investment in a customer relationship management system. You can imagine if you have a dedicated relationship manager at your bank or at your internet service provider. That dedicated relationship or account manager is a dedicated relationship and account manager, maybe to a portfolio of 200 customers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
They cannot store all that information in their minds enough to always give you and the other 199 an exemplary experience unless they use a tool.
yeah,
And that tool is a CRM. And not just any other CRM out here. It needs to be tailored or at least allow for some form of customization for your needs, the needs of the business and the needs of the customer.
yeah.
You know, I would love to champion one of the CRMs I've worked with for a couple of years.
Are they gonna pay?
And what I like about them is they have the CRM as a standalone platform, but then they have other modules that are easily integratable into that CRM.
Okay.
They also have open APIs that can integrate into other platforms outside of their organization, but that allow you to have or to build an exceptional experience for your customers.
Okay.
For example, your customer calls on the company line, or you call them using the company line. A recording of that call or the nature of that call or a ticket that was raised it gets stored in the CRM, maybe as a link. If that same customer tweets about a great experience, there's a connectivity there.
Yeah.
If that customer refers another customer, that information sits under that customer's account. So when you're transitioning this customer to another account manager, guess what? You're also preparing that account manager for success. Why? Because there's a historical transactions
Yeah.
about what happened. Furthermore, there's this special thing I like about CRMs is they'll have a section where you can input comments or notes. Some of my most favorite colleagues in the last couple of years are those that write notes inside there.
Yeah.
Because what those notes do is they give somebody else a blueprint, a Mwakenya,
Yeah.
on how to treat this customer. For example, if you write a note such as, do not ever call this customer between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m.
Yeah.
You know, that might not be captured in the other fields of the CRM, but that note in itself, when an account manager is handing over to another one and that person is required to read notes, familiarize themselves with this customer, they now know they shouldn't call them at 6:30 a.m.
I want to give you a simple story of Peter. Peter is a very good friend of mine. We go from way back in high school, and then we went to college together. One thing with Peter that I really found still that is with him is Peter does not like people calling him.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Whatever you're saying, just text.
He's a texter. I'm also
Yeah,
a texter.
really?
I'm also a texter. I receive calls, but I'm a texter.
Yeah. So now, Peter was working on a particular organization. I hope they pay me that I mentioned them.
You want to mention them?
I can't. I wish I can. But Peter was working in another organization. And the challenge Peter had is when the boss was leaving work, there was customers he was handling. Okay? But these customers, Peter did not have any information or prior information about them.
About them.
You understand? So every time this client, Peter was given the role when the boss left, of course. So Peter tells me, Steve, mimi out is junior wafanye nini? I don't know what to do with them. Because every time they call, they want X and X. Come and see X and X, I don't want to talk to you. I'm chukuliwa too serious. You don't take people seriously. So on a situation like someone like Peter, what could you advise him? Because now you are inheriting an experience or a transition that you're not briefed about.
I know.
And then how does that even make you look?
Yes.
You're losing your KPIs.
Yes, you are.
You're losing your KPIs.
Your professionalism
is out.
Yes.
So how for someone like Peter, who is my friend, Peter, I know you're listening. I mean, I had to share this.
I had to use his example.
So for someone like Peter, how do you advise him to occupy that transition? Because the customers, he doesn't know what to do with customers that he did not have on pool. But over and beyond that, he's trying to make these customers happy. Which is not working.
Oh my. When you say that, it reminds me of a time when I was working for an organization and I had promised during the interview that if they hired me, I was in the commercial department then, that if they hired me, I would bring back their dormant customers or their churned customers.
Wow.
It was a challenge I put on myself and they were super excited, just the way you're excited. And when I got hired, they gave me the list of their dormant customers. Some of those customers had not bought from them for like 3 years or engaged them for like 3 years.
Yeah.
I had an uphill task. I had to go and introduce myself again, and preferably in person. That's what I'd say to Peter.
Yeah.
The customers still hung up on their ex.
You have to pull that one.
The previous account manager is their ex, So they are still hung up on, oh, my ex used to buy me chocolate, send me good night messages.
He knew what to do.
Yes.
I don't need to say
I didn't even need to
ask for it.
My ex just knew. So what he has to do is he has to present himself afresh. And he probably needs to do it in person several times, not on phone. He needs to go reintroduce, reinvent what is different in terms of the service he's going to offer as compared to the ex. Will they always refer to the ex, compare, and try to pit him against the ex? That can happen.
Of course.
That can happen. But guess what? He's authentically who he is. And in good time, provided he takes cues and he listens to what those customers want, and that he gives something unique above and beyond, then he's okay. He'll win those customers for who he is. Let me tell you, my bank.
You should say, let me tell you my inner.
Let me tell you, Steve. My bank has transitioned me more than once without my knowledge.
Oh, wow.
And let me also own it. Maybe not without my knowledge. They've sent an email to the effect of saying my relationship manager has changed.
Oh, wow.
But you see what that does to me is it kind of puts me off.
Yeah.
I will have a couple of questions. I'm the kind of person that develops a relationship.
Yeah.
So my first question will be, what happened to my previous relationship manager? And then, who is this one that you've given me and why? Was I just an orphaned customer that was a list somewhere and was just given to someone? Or did you match my relationship needs to the right person? I have all of those questions. So I'm, of course, a bit apprehensive from even reaching out to this person. My expectation is that my new relationship manager will be hungry enough to want to maintain me and call me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes they've been given me and another list of many other customers before he or she can get to all of us. Like 1 year has gone by. I think something else companies need to look into is, if you're going to have your ninjas, your account managers have a large portfolio of customers, then enable them with the necessary tools. Like what I'm saying, a CRM tool that is connected and integrated into social data analytics, all these things. Empower them, give them what they need so that they can make me feel special.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then if not, and they don't have all these tools, then you're going to have to increase your workforce and decrease the number of customers that my dedicated account manager should reach out to and build those relationships. I tell you, the way they say, people only buy from people they like,
Yeah.
or people only do things for people they like.
Yeah.
Now, functionally speaking, how many banks are there?
So many.
Exactly. How many are going to learn me enough to give me an exceptional experience? A
Few.
couple.
Yeah,
A
just
couple
few.
of them, yes. But I am at liberty. It goes back to that loyalty point of view. Like, at the end of the day, what's really keeping me at the bank I'm at? I could switch over. And I know maybe even for our audience, some of us, like when you change companies, when you move from an employer to another one, and you find out your employer is banking at a different bank, because you need your salary to come in same day, same day, and things like that.
Yeah.
What do? You change your salary account for convenience.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you something, Bella. That is Peter's story. And I really hope Peter learns from it. But AI is here. Customers are changing. The traditional customer experience, probably traditional customer transition models, is also changing. So how does organization leverage on technology to ensure that there's the smooth transition of their customers or clients, so that we are not losing the human experience, but at the same time, we are still having, we still feel important and
Yes.
considered in the bank,
Yes.
and not some robots talking to us.
Okay, so in terms of artificial intelligence, I think there's many tools that are available in the AI spectrum that can enable organizations to retain their customers and to also acquire more customers. And one of those ways is channels of engagement. I wouldn't want to just say blanketly that all companies should implement chatbots, but that is one of the AI tools that can be used in terms of channel engagement with our customers. And even so, I'd caution on the flow of conversation with chatbots. I think for me as a customer, as long as I know this is a chatbot, I'm okay to a level. Then transition me to a human being.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep going round and round without getting my answers, or I don't want to feel stuck as a customer and still then have to call the call center,
Which was not necessary.
yeah. So I think organizations should have their journey mapping, their customer journey mapping, as part of how do we integrate chatbots. So that's just one AI tool. Another AI tool is data analytics.
Data.
Something that I think companies would do well to leverage on is that same data that's collected on the CRM. You remember when I was saying it's integrated to many other platforms that are also data sources.
Yeah.
It's very important for companies to centralize this data and have an analysis mechanism that gives insights towards marketing campaigns, towards call scripts and customer engagements, towards product development. If you're going to improve on your current product portfolio, or if you're going to create new products, it better be based on customers engagement data, customer feedback data. Now it's reached a place where this analysis needs to happen real time.
Yeah.
It needs to happen as the customer is transitioning, as the customer is transacting. Now, like there are some companies we use their product even up to 10 times a day.
Yeah.
10 different transactions. I am the same customer.
Okay.
And probably their customer base is in the millions.
Okay.
We're talking about using artificial intelligence to analyze this data, algorithms that can produce insights on a real-time basis. So you asked, while still keeping the customer engaged and
Yeah.
still keeping the customer happy. The levels of correctness of this data, how accurate this data is in terms of informing what next we should do for the customer, how we can improve what our current offering is for the customer, remains to be tested.
Okay.
I think organizations are testing as we go.
But also you realize it gets tested with time, and AI is new, so we cannot fully rely on AI
No, you
to
can't.
transition customers to the next available product we are producing or launching. The human experience is still playing a big role in everything. I'm gonna share a story now, probably with you, that I think is still challenging with me. Even with the travels, there's a complaint. Let's discuss. Okay, let me rephrase it. Let's discuss complaints. English is not Englishing.
Complaint management.
No, not
Uh-huh.
complaints management.
Yeah.
Probably complaints management. But how do you transition customer complaints? You understand? Because that's a very key thing. I complain to you. You remember the last time we were talking about escalation until it gets on social media because X and X decided to, hey, mi nimechoka. Huyu customer ananibo. You understand? For those who don't understand, it means I'm tired. This customer is on my is on my head or is on my. This customer is stressing me out.
Yes.
So also in complaints management, as you put it, how do you transition customers so that if there's one complaint that someone raised and they say, Bella, my SIM card, my drink, or my phone network, or probably your car has an issue and I can't travel with it. How do you transition complaints when you're existing so that the customer knows, oh, it's Bella who is here now. This is whatever did whatever it is clear. What is Bella gonna do about it? How do you transition that from a customer experience perspective?
Yeah. I think one of the ways is to build flows that give you information.
Yeah.
So a customer might be able to tell you everything that they feel about the experience without necessarily giving you enough information to act on. So one of the ways that that's very easy to do that is to have some 3 or 4 key questions that you ask the customer. One of them can be their location. And it can be part of the introduction, and it can just be something like, hello Steve, where are you currently, so that I can best be able to assist you.
Yeah.
So you'll say, I am at such and such a place and I have just had one of your drinks and I don't like it. Yeah. So just giving them the information around location enables them to take a certain action, and then they're likely to ask you, is this the first time you've gone there? And I know some of these questions can
That's so
be irritating.
structural.
They can be irritating to
Bella,
the customer.
can I jump in real quick? I think one thing that organizations should also look at, even as you answer that, is those structural questions being repeated to you over and over, and you have asked this question more than 3 times.
Yes.
You know, please proceed from the irritating part.
From the irritating. So
Not just me, even my colleagues at the back of the set are saying, they're saying yes.
Why do they ask me all of this information? There is one that is about verifying that it's truly you. Yeah. And I think they tell us, I want to verify that it's truly you. I'll ask you 2 or 3 questions. That one, just make peace with it, because there's fraudsters out here. There's people that can use your identity to do some fraudulent stuff. Make peace with that one. Now, number two, you've made peace.
Gracias.
Number two is training our agents and our customer facing teams to be able to ask questions that enable us to take action driven questions.
Yeah.
So those are the ones that will inform how we can transition you as a customer. And then we spoke about this last time, empowering our customer facing staff to be able to be the ones that take decisions. Let them just have a pre-approved process, something that they can literally tell the customer, oh, is that what has happened? Kindly, I'm sending you details for this and this and that, without going through a very long approval process and not giving the customer an answer. I'll give you an example. Refunds.
Yeah. Oh.
A payment made to a wrong phone number, to a wrong pay
Till
bill, to a
number.
wrong till number, and things like that. Sometimes just the assurance that you will have your money back within a certain timeline is enough. But in other instances, especially if a customer tells you that's the only money I had, or I need that money for me to be able to make the actual payment that I needed to do. Like, I'm just giving an example. There are some exceptions that we can, after collecting enough data, create as part of issue resolution and bringing down our complaints from a certain level of escalation. Now, is this the point where we talk about friendships and transitioning of friendships? Because I really want to I really want to go there. I really want to go there. I want to, but I'll use an example. I'll still use an example. If a friend of yours owns a company or provides a certain product or service, there's this thing about so and so is my friend. So
Yeah.
the expectation is that they will offer you that product or
free.
service
For free.
at no cost.
Really?
Because we are friends.
Of course.
I'm now joining this to
Of
the
course,
other conversation.
Bella, of course.
To the other conversation.
Yeah.
And then there's the part around, there's a family and friends discount. Like, you have to pay me. There's an investment I have put into offering that product or service. I've taken away from my time. I trained for so many years and I have the expertise to be able to offer you that service. Surely it cannot come at no cost.
Yeah.
Yes? And there can be a family and friends discount. Now, moving your friends from a place of, I no longer do certain things,
Yeah.
and this is the refocused, redefined, changed version of who I am. It comes with losing friendships.
Do we want to get there now? Do we want to get about losing friendships?
We do.
I mean, let's hold it. We will get there. Of course, we are gonna get there. I want to ask you the last question of this topic, because we're gonna discuss about transitioning friendships too. On the next podcast, of course, we're gonna have the next one. We are not leaving. Usually, when we meet with Bella, we can record 2 or 3 podcasts. So don't say, avoid that podcast, this is the same podcast. No, relax, we got you. So here's the thing, Bella. A company has a future. They're transitioning to a future. They want you to believe in that as a customer. They want you to understand their new values, probably integrity, discipline. They want to enable you to accept that who they are is new. How do companies or organizations transition their vision and mission
To their customers.
so that if you're selling me, so that I'm still tied with your product or your service, but I also believe in services, or I believe in the new transition you're bringing. How do companies do that, even as we wrap this up?
Yeah. Here, I'd like to call on the experts who are in marketing and communications and PR. But I'll speak from what I observed with a company that was transitioning in terms of its values, but also its brand visibility. They transitioned, I think, after very short periods of time, more than twice.
Wow.
And I want to bet you that somewhere along the way they lost customers. I think there's a fatigue that comes from, I now am invested as a customer to stay with you. Oh, you have changed your colors. Okay. You have changed your locations. All right, I'm still here. And then as we are getting into the crux of it, 3 years down the line or 2 years down the line, you've changed again. And so even the offering is changing. What I was used to is changing.
Yeah.
Now, flip that with a business that has been consistent for a while. They have collected the data. Even when they were going through a vision building, mission building, value building experience because they were reigniting their brand,
Yeah.
they used customer related engagements data. So if they were previously, if their values were integrity, and now their values are something action driven,
Yeah.
will do right by you or something like that.
But we're leaving no one behind.
We are leaving and some very wonderful taglines that speak to those values. They've just changed the wording.
Yeah.
Why? Because that wording is something they've picked from the way that I used to interact with them as a customer. Guess what? My transition is so much smoother. I feel like these are my people. This is my tribe. When they start to use words like transparent, I'm like, yes. Because they've seen in the nature of my transactions and the feedback I used to give, that I always used to say, give us the information as it is, be transparent.
Parent, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, maybe for me, it's just a point of advice. If there's a company out there that is thinking of rebranding, please start from a customer point of view. Bring your customers along
Yeah, walk
for
with
that
them.
for that journey.
Yeah.
Don't go lock yourself away somewhere in a retreat and come up with these wonderful, beautiful ideas whilst your key stakeholder, who is your customer,
Don't
is
know.
left out.
It's left
is
behind.
is
Left behind.
is left behind.
Wait, Bella. I know this is so interesting because I don't know if companies do this, but I'll imagine if I love a particular brand and they call me for coffee, they say, Steve, we want to change from this name to this name. How does that make you feel? Personalizing it. But like, imagine I'm rebranding from SOP photography to something else. And I'm telling you, Bella, I'm calling you for coffee first of all. So I'm already created a room for us to eat.
Food must always be involved. Yes.
So imagine I'm inviting stakeholders in this engagement. And we're having our choma. You know, choma, kadufu, na piripiri kwa ubari. You know.
Some of our audience will not understand
No,
that.
it's nyama choma, it's so local here. So it's roasted meat, right?
Yes, roasted meat.
Roasted meat and some kachumbari. You find out what kachumbari is. You cannot explain everything. But pilipili is pepper. Or
It's pepper.
It's pepper.
Yes.
West Africa, they call it pepe.
Pepe.
Yeah. So we have that pilipili kobari situation. And they are my stakeholder. And they're telling me, hey, by the way, this is how we are going as a business. And because for us to serve you like this and this, we want to transition to this, and this will make us do this, and this will be our future. I don't know if most organizations do that. If they do, what could be the best way to even stamp it to the stakeholders who are the customer, because they're transitioning them from who they know to who they want to become.
Yes. I know that companies can engage market research organizations that can do that for them with a certain sample, a very key sample of their customer base. Now, if companies have segmented their customers, let's say by demographics around age, which means our generation Alpha, our Gen Z, our millennials, or they've segmented them along the lines of how much they spend with them, or they've segmented them along the lines of frequency of transactions or interactions, or the amount of money that they spend. So the frequency might not be as much,
Yeah.
but the customer spends volumes in terms of revenue to the business. If they've done that segmentation very well,
Yeah.
they can obtain a representative sample
Okay.
from each of them and conduct focus group discussions with them.
Where
So
the choma nyama and
yes,
I love
yes,
that.
and they can choma nyama. The thing is, if you do that, you're nearly reaching your entire population of customer base, because realistically speaking, some businesses have millions of customers.
Yeah.
So aggregate that together with your data analytics mechanism, and then have in-person engagements in the form of focus group discussions, or engage a market research organization to do phone call surveys for solicited feedback. You put all of those things together, and a company is likely to come up with a vision, a mission, a set of values, or even change their products or some element of their service, and it will resonate with their customers.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You know, this cannot stop here, of course.
Yeah.
Our time is not even, we are within our time limits actually. We are really doing good. But two things before I let you go. We're going to discuss this in the next podcast. One, I hear you talking about CX and data.
Yes.
Data or data? Is it data or data?
Depends.
Data.
It depends where you went to school.
Data. So CX and data. I want us to have that conversation in the next podcast, because every conversation we are having, you mentioned data as a very key thing
Yeah.
towards employee customer experience. That's one. Secondly, you've mentioned something that I'm going home with. You said if a company or an organization is not transitioning towards Gen Alpha,
Yes. The 13 years and below.
they should think twice why they're here.
Yeah. In the next 5 years, if you've not already started mapping what their experiences will look like with your business.
Dankjewel. Dankjewel. In Dutch, you say dankjewel, and then you respond by saying alsjeblieft.
Alsjeblieft.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gracias in Spanish, dankjewel in Dutch. Till next time, guys. See you in the next podcast. Bye.
Bye.